What's up, folks? This is Justin from Books, Bricks, and Boards. Over the last few weeks, I've done a couple of videos on the new Cities Without Number book that came out from Kevin Crawford of CWON Publishing. So with my physical copy in hand, I've been pouring through this.
It's a quest for fun.
I'd already gone through the PDF thoroughly over the various iterations for the last several months. Very familiar with the material. And the last video I did on the subject, I created a character and went into a little bit of the player side of things. But this time, I am actually going to do a little bit of world building with you, because my plan is to do a little bit of solo play with the Cities Without Number rules set. But before you can do that, you need to have a place to play.
I should have known.
So, without further ado, here is my Cities Without Number world building video. Let's check it out. You may remember from last time I created a character who was a trader, George Garver. He trades in information.
Inconceivable!
And that video went over the full character creation process for Worlds Without Number. For this video, we're going to be doing world building, so George has a place to live.
Do it!
Now, you'll notice this sheet here is not found in the book.
Surprise!
I did create this. It is nothing special. It's just 4 pages to collect the information that you're going to generate when you build a world for Cities Without Number. That being said, if you'd like a copy of it, just shoot me an email to booksbricksandboards@gmail.com. I will warn you, I don't check that email as often as I should. I know a couple of you had sent me an email about a week ago, and I just got to it today. Sorry for that. Had a lot going on at home. So, that being said, we're going to bounce back and forth between this sheet and the Cities Without Number book to generate some material to work with. The first thing that you're going to be doing whenever you create your world is selecting a year. This might not seem super important, but it can add to the realism of the campaign. As you've all seen, back in 1985, some really talented filmmakers had predicted that we would be driving flying cars by 2015.
Whoa, this is heavy.
Well, that didn't happen. So you always want to give yourself a little bit of extra wiggle room when it comes to the time. And for that reason, I'm going to go with the year 2125. After you've chosen your year, you're going to need to figure out what some of the driving forces in the world are and what the problems that exist in your world are. There's going to be some other choices that are going to be made that aren't going to be on my sheet here. For example, is your world going to have a post-apocalyptic vibe? Is it going to have magic? Will it be sci-fantasy? Will it be bound to just Earth, or is it going to be on an alien world, or is it going to be an intergalactic game?
Stay on target.
But for this time, I'm just going to stick to your standard cyberpunk Shadowrun type of game. I am going to not deal with the elements of magic just yet. I don't know if my world has magic or not, and for solo play, that's all right. We can learn that through emergent gameplay.
Don't try it.
So, first things first, I'm going to turn to page 112 and roll up some problems for my world. All right, so here is the table that I am working with, and keep in mind, this table is in the free version of Cities Without Number as well, which you can get off DriveThruRPG. Though I do encourage you to pick up the full version to support Kevin, and also just because it's a great product.
Son of a bitch must pay.
But we're going to roll twice on this table and see what we get. I got a 10 and a 9. So the 10 is famine and the 9 is empire. So reading what the descriptions of these problems are, One nation or polity has succeeded in crushing all of its significant rivals. The only nations that exist are those directly subordinate to the superpower, and those too impoverished and isolated to be worth vassailing. The world's megacorps are constantly fighting to control the superpower's government, and different corps may have mutually hostile grips on different departments or regions of the polity. So to me, that sounds like the United States superpower industrial complex
Stars in America, I'm sorry.
took over the world in my world. And then number 10, famine. A massive shortage of basic food staples has been created by crop diseases, climate change, industrial pollution, or overpopulation. Much of the world's land is no longer usable for crops, and polities struggle to control fertile zones in order to feed their people. Hunger is a basic fact of life for anyone below the middle class. That makes sense. The corporations fight for power, and they're concerned with their own interests, not so much with the interests of the populace. I'm even going to take this one step forward, and with my world problem, I'm going to say that the reason that the empire dominating the world is the USA is because they were the fastest to establish effective AI.
Shall we play a game?
And the AI has something to do with it. Maybe the AI is actually what is running these different mega corporations, and that is part of the problem with the famine, because they just see the humans as a means to perpetuate the needs of the AI. So that's what we're going to go with. Next up, I'm going to choose a city. That's going to be the kind of the base of operations for the campaign. And I'm going to choose Chicago because I used to live there. And so I'm going to flip to page 116 to get some problems for the city of Chicago. All right, here on the left is the table I'm going to roll from to create some problems for the city of Chicago. Again, this is in the free PDF of the game. So we're going to roll twice on this. You could roll more times if you wanted to, but this is going to give you a good idea of what kind of problems your city is going to be experiencing. This particular table is going to be a D100 roll. As I said, I'm going to roll twice on it. I got an 85, which is a resource strike, and a 63, which is a new union. So with the new union, we would have the region was united with another city or polity, whether or not it liked the idea. It may have been the conquering victor of a military action, the unfortunate victim of annexation, or driven into an alliance by some local crisis or dire need. The old power structures struggle to come out as the rulers of the new union, and the losers seek to tear apart the structure. So that's interesting. And I think what that is in my world is going to be that humans are in control of the city of Chicago, which seems like it would be great, except for they're still fighting for their own power, so they may not be any better than the AI, but it gives something to strive for as in a campaign. And resource strike. A new resource has been found in the region recently, and it's drawn intense interest from local corporations and desperate prospectors. The resource may be a conventional one, like oil or gold, or it might be a more abstract thing, like a tremendously vigorous art scene or entrancing new musical genre. The corporations are still fighting over control of its monetization. And so I think what that is for my campaign is going to be the basic code for the AI.
I don't think it means what you think it means.
And I think if they can get to the root, they might be able to bring the AI back into line and control it. And I'm going to make some notes here. Keep in mind you can always change this as you go. If something comes up later that makes something else more interesting or attractive, you can always do that. So next up, we're going to create a single home district. And my sheet here says 121. It's actually on page 122 where the table is. So we're going to roll twice on this. Again, you could roll more or less if you wanted to. But this is going to be just a couple of things that define the district in which your character is going to operate. And so whenever you put these together, hopefully they will create an interesting base of operations. So let's roll on that table. We got a 19, which is a corrupt kingpin. This sounds good. And a 47, which is impending doom.
Prepare to meet Kali.
Well, that's interesting. So we have a corrupt kingpin and impending doom. Now you can see how as you continue to build out this world, things just emerge naturally and you start to see things like this corrupt kingpin may have been the human that brought the people to power again, but maybe we're just now seeing what his true motivations were. And the impending doom could be something related to his actions. Let's read what Kevin has to say about these two.
Oh, right.
For corrupt kingpin, a particular gang boss, city official, or corporate executive is the unofficial king of this district. Nothing major happens without their approval, and their approval is very expensive. Other power centers in the district exist only as minions to the kingpin, or as aspiring usurpers, and the latter seldom live long. So then, impending doom. The district's main industry is about to die. Its criminal kingpin is on his deathbed. Two equally powerful gangs are about to go to war, or some other rapidly approaching reckoning threatens to throw the district into chaos. Everyone knows it's going to happen soon, and everyone's going to try to make the friends and settle the scores necessary to survive it. Ooh, that's interesting.
You keep using the word.
I really like the kingpin is on his deathbed. So maybe his corruption is that he just kept everything very close to the vest because he was trying to keep together this loose affiliation of peoples and trying to keep them in line so that they could maintain their tenuous grasp on the city of Chicago. And maybe the impending doom is he is now in a coma of some sort and reliant upon the medicine of humans without machines, because the machines cannot be trusted because of their AI. It's in their interest for him to die. So he holds some very important information related to the code that he has not shared with anyone to anyone's knowledge. And so that is the impending doom.
Right.
So we're going to go with that for now. And we're going to go on to build some mega corporations. Now on these, you don't have to build all of them all at once. I have spaces for, I believe, 5 on my sheet, because I've got 3 on the front page and 2 on the back. And I think I'm just going to build out 3 of them for now, and that leaves 2 that I could add later. But you do want at least 3, I think, because you need to have the opportunity for conflict between them. One of the tropes of this particular genre is that the corporations are working against each other, and you don't know always for which corporation you are doing business, because they keep all of the motivations and stuff to themselves. So by having 3, it kind of keeps you on your toes, and then leaving room for some more, you could be surprised even more.
This is just a real nice surprise.
So we're going to go over to page 126, we'll take a look at some of these tables. Okay, as you can see, there's lots of tables here, but don't be intimidated. So with this, you're going to be able to create a name, a focus, a style, a strength, a goal, and some recent events for your megacorporations. By the time you get all of those things chosen, you're going to have a living, breathing, interesting type of corporation to interact with. Okay, so we're just going to roll in order of what I have on my sheet, not what's in order of the tables. So I'm going to start with a name element and then do a corporate element. So name element is 5, family name, and corporate element 1, associates. So I'm going to say that this is going to be named after the Kingpin. And we're going to go with Rockefeller Associates. I know that's not a Chicago name. Daly would be a better name for Chicago, but I kind of like the connotation that it has. And maybe the East Coast was destroyed and the remaining Rockefellers moved to the center of the country. So then we're going to go with a focus and roll a d20. We got a 12. Heavy industry. Interesting. And appropriate for the name. And style. We've got a 16. Power generation. And for, oh, that's not right.
Everything that guy just says is bullshit. Thank you.
16 for style is actually reckless. My bad. And reckless says constantly making dangerous bets that may or may not pay off. Cool. So we've got strengths. We're going to roll d20. Their products are cheap but effective. So we're going to go cheap and effective. And their goal, 15. Plant a mole in another corpse C-suite. And recent events, a 6. It overextended into new markets. Okay. So that's the first corporation out of the way. We'll make a couple more. So we'll do the name, an 8, mythic figure or god, and a 5, community. So I think that's going to be Odin community. And their focus over at Odin community is biotech. And their style is decaying. Let's see what he has to say about decaying as a style. Blindly pursuing products and schemes that just aren't going to work. Well, that is interesting with a biotech company. So maybe they're into experimental designs and designer creations in the industry of biotech. Strengths, 17. Their military forces are surprisingly strong. So I think that means that they are willing and able to protect their secrets. And 16 for goals gives us a frame a rival for an impending disaster. Okay. And 7 for events. It committed a barely deniable atrocity. Okay, I like this having already happened instead of going to happen because of what I rolled for events. So they did something that is pretty obviously the impact of Odin community because perhaps they're in such a specific industry. And they're trying to frame another corporation for that. All right, let's go to the last corporation I'm going to create for now. Number 1 for the name. It's an animal name. And sciences. So let's go with Serpent Sciences. It's got the kind of biblical connotation. It evokes an interesting aspect there with a little bit of possibility for evil. And then also it has got that nice sound to it. It almost sounds like a snake when you say Serpent Sciences. Okay, so let's go to the corporate focus. 11, financial services. Well, with my recent experience in the financial industry, I can certainly relate to them potentially being serpents. Wow, if that's not on the nose.
I don't want to tell him what a cheap, lying, no good, rotten, four-flushing, low-life, snake-licking, dirt-eating, inbred, overstuffed...
A few moments later.
Where's the Tylenol?
Let's roll for a style. And 12, murderous. Wow. Yeah, that's somewhat familiar to me too.
That's right.
Okay. Strengths. A 10. Their schemes are unusually effective. Now, this could all pretty well describe the last company I worked for.
This isn't the biggest bag over the head punch in the face
And goals. We got a subvert annoying government. And a recent event, a 13, is going to be, it spun off a major subsidiary. And I think maybe this spun off of Odin Corporation. Money was so good that the banking aspect of it became even more important than the biotech, at least to some in the company. So, we're going to leave the other two corporations blank for now. We might create those as we're playing our solo play. Then we're going to turn to page 128, and we're going to create some gangs in a similar manner.
Shogun of Harlem.
I think I'm just going to create 2 of the gangs for now and leave the other one blank so that I can have the opportunity to be surprised in solo play if that comes up. And again, you can create as many of these as you want, but you want to have at least a couple so that you have some opportunities for conflict. So we're going to come up with a name first. One, street name, and element mob. So we're going to do the Michigan Avenue mob. Most well-known street in Chicago, I would say. What's their source of income? 16, petty theft. And their style is sanctioned. Wow. So they have an element of legitimacy provided from the government. Maybe that's because their petty theft keeps the humans in line. Let's see. Strengths. 1. They have an elite of cyber pros. So maybe that's part of the reason they're sanctioned, is they can erase or legitimize their records by breaking into the systems. And their goals, cyber up their enforcers with big iron. Okay, that's interesting. And it goes with their elite cyber pros. And recent events, 17. They came into a large cash windfall. So, to me that says they're on the rise. And perhaps they're driving up prices of cyber because they've got so much cash and that's their goal, that would create more issues on the streets for folks trying to acquire cyber. Interesting. So second gang, we're going to do 3, which is a violent action, and 18, society. So I'm going to call them the Slayer Society. Perhaps they like the 80s band. Maybe not. And let's go to their main source of income. 11, hacking. And their style, degenerate, favoring self-destructive enjoyments. Interesting. And their strengths, an 8. They have ties outside the city. So to me, that would have to be with AI, because we've established that what makes Chicago special is that it is not in the clutches of the AI. Goals. 9. Take over local vice trade. And events, 12. The gang changed their focus, their crime focus. So we're going to go from assassination to, we're going to say drugs. They're moving drugs now. We'll leave the last one blank there. And then we're going to get into schemes. Schemes are a little bit harder to describe because they're going to be a little more abstracted and they're part of an ongoing story. So the schemes are going to be, at least in my solo game, they're going to be somewhat mysterious, because I don't want to know the answer until I find it out either. So I won't know which corporation or gang is operating, but I just know what their goals are. And then each scheme is going to have a current progress points, milestone progress points, so it's kind of like a midway point, what they have accomplished, and then the final progress points, which is when the scheme is completed. They've reached their goal. You can have as many goals as you want in there. I'm going to do shorter schemes because I tend to play shorter games. So my goals are going to be 3 for each scheme. And then there is a milestone effect too. So I put a spot up here for a name for each scheme. But because I don't know anything about it yet, I'm not going to. I'm going to go ahead and leave that blank for now. And I'm going to roll some goals. So for goal 1 on this one, 18, break free from another. And as I'm just starting out, I'm going to have all of these be petty schemes. I guess this is, so petty schemes are 10 for final, 5 for a milestone, and they start at 1. So we're going to get a number of progress points based on our performance. They can go backwards too, if you want to have an outside force doing something to hinder goal attainment here, or if you just botch a mission, it might give a negative effect too. A lot of that's up to the GM. And then I'm not going to know what the milestone is on this either. I just know that I've got somebody that wants to break free from another. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do another petty local. And I'll roll on a goal. And change their image. And you can see from what I'm getting here that this makes a lot more sense after you've created some gangs and some corporations. Without that, it would just be too vague to be playable or gameable. But after you've gone through the steps, it makes a lot more sense. And for my third one, we get save a person. I have a feeling I know which corporation might be interested in that. And we're going to go 10, 5. Actually, that one is, it's pretty big. Let's go, that's a district one. So we're going to go 20. And we're going to do 5, 10, and 15. And we're starting out at 1. And then we're going to roll some random missions. Keep in mind, the milestones have random tables as well. There's ways to roll up random NPC operator teams, schemes that NPCs are running, what their results were, so you can kind of have an AI team acting at the same time you are, maybe in the same schemes that you are, which can create more interesting drama. So we're going to roll up 3 random missions, and then if I choose to take one of them, then that will be what we run on the solo playthrough on the channel. So 64, and this is on page, it's actually on page 144. The missions start on 142, but then they go to page 144. And here's that table on page 144. And you can see 64, Mad Artist. So with that, that's for the tag number 1. And let's see what else I get. All right. Secret Base. Mad Artist and Secret Base. Interesting. Then we're going to roll for the type of mission, and later on each type has full tables, die drop tables for everything you're going to be looking to accomplish. But we're going to go ahead and roll just a type for this one. And this is a defense mission. And then eventually I would pick a payoff as well as a hook. And with that, the hook would kind of describe what the mission is going to do. And you'll get a good idea of that after you've rolled on the individual mission tables. And just to give you an idea of what those individual missions might look like, this is the table for defense, which is the mission we just rolled. And you'd roll a d6, a d8, d4, d10, d12, and d20, and that will give you a pretty good idea of what type of mission you're looking at. And just to give you an idea, this particular defense mission, I got a 3, which they've quarreled with their usual cover. I'm sorry, that's not right. How afraid is the target? Number 3, expecting a very bad time ahead. Okay. And then for the D6 is also a 3. They've quarreled with their usual cover, and that's why can't they do it themselves. D8, what kind of patron put up the job? It is a loved one who's worried about things. Then a D10, also a 2. What made them fearful? A prior narrowly failed attack. So this is not the first time they've experienced this. And then what needs to be defended? 9, a client who demanded protection. So maybe it's this guy that's in the coma. Interesting. And then 9, twist to the situation. Expected defenders aren't there. So maybe his bodyguards have gone on break, so to speak. And I have been called in to help defend this guy. I would be very low on that list, I would think, as I am an information broker. But because I have ties to the information network in that area, maybe that would be why my character would be called in on this, because he could be trusted. And he's an excellent marksman. So there you go. That's a mission. That's some gangs, that's some schemes, that's some corporations. It's just a broad overview of what the tools look like for the Cities Without Number RPG. And next time I do a Cities Without Number video, it will be to play out a mission, either this one or maybe another one that I roll off camera. But if you did enjoy the content, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, this has been Justin from Books, Bricks, and Boards. Good gaming, and God bless.
That's all, folks.